That's right, folks. It's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It Grab-Bag. And tonight we're pulling out, sifting around in here. Oh my word! This is unprecedented. It's a comedy special. Oh my god, this is like an
A
erase away
wild
sort of
comedy
deal here.
special has appeared.
Yes, Mark it's oh look at this unboxing on Christmas morn here, folks. Mark Sipka, my special family special. What do you know? Oh my goodness. As we're covering on the Just Giggle It Grab-Bag. Tiki, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, Dragon, before I get into my thoughts on it, let me just kind of build up here. Folks, we got a theme month, and we're not going to reveal it until the end. You're going to have to stick around. But the theme month for February and the next season of Just Giggle It, we've been on hiatus for a while. So the next season of the Just Giggle It Grab Bag has got a theme that's so headlining and so A-list, Dragon, that it requires an opening act. And that
So
act is
true.
baby.
Sipka, baby!
All right, so Dragon, this is a special. Like, honestly, I agree with with all three of these 5-star reviews that you see on our root image here. I'm just like, yeah, it's a special that you can watch with the whole family. It's a special that makes you laugh like crazy, and it makes you feel like you're part of the family, Dragon. It's a family picture.
Yep.
But in all seriousness, Dragon, I really like the idea of kind of bringing the family on stage and having it be a warm-hearted roast, if you will. It never gets really mean-spirited. It's all in good fun, and it's just kind of like, all right, let's make fun of the quirks and the personality traits that make these people who they are and make them, and show exactly why we love them so much in spite of their flaws.
Yeah.
No, man, I really dug this. I really got a lot out of it.
Yes, I remember I was informed by Joshua Thomas. He kind of put a post on Discord, which again people should be checking out. By the way, basically announcing that Sipka had done this comedy special on Amazon, and of course, Amazon Prime. I'm there. I'm gonna check it out, and I checked it out, and I was also I was very entertained by this. It really was. There was a moment at the start, which I guess we'll get into momentarily. There was a moment at the start where I was a little worried. I was. But then again, I felt silly because why on earth was I worried for that brief moment? Because come on, it's Sipka, baby, it's Mark Sipka, one of the heavy artillery weapons in the Just Giggle It armory, man. It's Sipka doing what Sipka's put on this earth to do, and that's make people laugh in a wholesome way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and of course, folks. Again, we hadn't really. So again, we're kind of changing things up a little on the grab bag tonight because ordinarily we go beat by beat, and obviously, if we really pushed ourselves, we could go beat by beat.
Basically, if we did beat by beat, it wouldn't feel right because this is literally like someone else's comedy routine, and so basically all we'd be doing is reciting the jokes.
Which is a disservice to Sipka. And basically, again,
Exactly.
we always border on that anyway. We don't want to take our chances. We don't want to bet against the house, so to speak. We don't want to just like there's explaining the joke and kind of looking into the implications, which we kind
I
of
mean,
do.
don't get
And
me wrong. We'll definitely be talking about individual jokes throughout the special and how they stand out, but we're not going to talk about each individual one or go, frame by frame through the thing or anything.
precisely, but we are going to tie some themes like we tend to do on the grab it here. There are some themes and some very interesting layers to kind of again. There are a lot of laughs. There's also a lot of heart in this. And I love how the heart kind of ties into the laughter, and there's a lot of really great things structurally that I think pay off by the it's a really great narrative that's kind of woven through all of this. I got really excited to get into. So basically, folks, look at this as kind of a special like we did with Erase Away, the movie that temporarily was available to everybody, but again, the earliest kind of film debut of Joshua Thomas, one of the early film debuts of Joshua Thomas. In this case, this is all Sipka, baby. There's the difference.
All right.
All right, so of course, before we dive into the special itself, let me give you some background. Most of it's speculative background, but I just want to give you a little bit of like context for like how the heck this sort of thing happens. I mean, from what we know, and what Tiki and I've kind of gone over with Sipka on the grab bag before is that Sipka, of course, very funny actor on Just Giggle It, an L.A. actor, presumably met, I believe, he met Joshua Thomas and the gang in the improv group that they all kind of met each other under, with Yuma and the whole gang. Yuka and the whole gang. I don't know. I keep going back from Yuma to Yuka. I keep screwing that up somehow, but it's been a while, and she was only in it for like the first couple of videos, and then she kind of flew the coop. So forgive me. Point being, is Sipka's gotten around, and not only from Just Giggle Tiki. Of course, we have a big familiarity with Sipka from work such as, to list a few, because the guy's kind of an X factor on there. One of my favorites with Sipka would be Jackie. He's great in Jackie.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
There's Jackie, and I think another really great one that really kind of ties into what we're talking about here with one of the chapters of kind of Sipka's comedy and all this. We have the Hour of Darkness podcast where he plays Poncio's mom off screen.
Oh God!
Which he uses a very specific voice for. And now we know the origin of that voice, and it's amazing. So that's the thing I love. There's a bit of continuity to kind of the Sipka of it all, and kind of what we learned from Sipka that kind of applies to how we get this special. Is that Sipka, what we learned from Just Giggle and doing the grab bags, that Sipka is kind of a, I didn't know this, until we got to I believe it was Cat Lover. Cat Lover was initially supposed to feature Mark Sipka, but had kind of some racy material in it. Had some, again, went to a really dark and eerie place. so we always just have kind of been laughing at Sipka when he shows up. Like, oh my God, Sipka is his own. Like Sipka Tiki is the one who originated one of our favorite running gags. The whole that Joshua Thomas Grand Slam. That's Sipka.
Right, yeah.
Sipka came up with that. Sipka did the Al Pacino impression that we kind of like to kind of cite there when basically he's complimenting the great and powerful Joshua Thomas. So the interesting thing is that Sipka is kind of a wholesome guy. We definitely get an inkling of where that came from in this special, and he's gotten around. He's been on I've kind of found this out recently. He's been on America's Got Talent. He did a show on Netflix called The Couple. I haven't looked into it. I really don't know.
How far did he get? Very far.
God, I think it was like season 13 or something. I don't know how many episodes. At least I think he made it through at least a couple. I don't know. I'm not sure. But and there are other things too. But the point is, Sipka is. I don't believe.
Dragon, I did some research too, and he's like I literally looked up. Like, I wonder if I could see Sipka when I go down to Southern California at the end of the month. And so far, Dragon, he's got shows consistently scheduled through mid-February, and I gotta say, there's a chance he might schedule some shows while I'm down there, and if there's a chance, I might take it. I don't know.
So presumably, and again, a lot of this is me reading into it, folks. I tried to get some definitive answers here, but I can only get so much. I do have a wealth of some good stuff here, though, just not as much as I would have liked to get basically verify some stuff here, but basically some kind of inferring a little bit here and there. Sipka, presumably when he's doing the improv, he's refining his craft, and of course meeting the players of Just Giggle, and also, again, probably the long game of it all is like to be a really great stand-up comic, which of course ipso facto he became, as well as an actor. Again, actor being, I guess, first and foremost, but again, he's kind of done a lot of stage comedy, so I don't know if I assume actor was the first and foremost, and he's kind of really liked doing stage comedies. I believe that's kind of what he kind of gravitated towards, hence this, and again, hence the fact that he's doing shows. And Sipka, basically, he's no longer like he's not in the new Just Giggle It sketches. I mean, the new ones that they're doing, they're kind of rebuilding a new cast from kind of the core players. They basically are Harley Quinn and Joker actors onward. That's kind of where they're working with currently, but I didn't look back to see what the last Sipka sketch is, because Just Giggle has a number of sketches that I presume are still in the can, like kind of archival pieces they could always just kind of upload here and there, which is kind of neat. So presumably Sipka, since whatever the point of his last sketch was, he's been kind of preparing for this. Doing some other stuff, doing some of the Netflix shows I mentioned, doing America's Got Talent, and kind of been gearing up for this, his big moment. Probably been doing some shows. Now, I would love to think that someone spotted Sipka and gave him this special, but I mean, my guess on this is that Sipka had an act. He refined it. He kind of almost Jeff Dunham style. Jeff Dunham, he was kind of down on his luck, and he basically kind of bet all the chips on a special coming out on DVD, and that kind of made his career. So I presume Sipka's doing something kind of similar, where he has an act, he refines it, and I imagine maybe there was a crowd fund or something, or somehow he pulled together the funds to he has that recording. He kind of gets it on Amazon for a fee. Not that he's not good enough. I love to think that it was like, hey, they saw this talent, but that's the way the world works. Sometimes crowdfundings will get your foot in the door, and sometimes yeah, it gets them on Amazon Prime for all to see. And from what I can see, it's doing really well.
Yeah, it's got like over 100 reviews, and it's all like 5 stars.
Yeah, and of course, as Tiki said, the gist of this is it's Sipka roasting his crazy family very lovingly and interacting with them on a couch in center stage, which I gotta tell you is so rare. I mean, it's kind of Tiki. What really strikes me about all this is that it's such an ingenious pitch for a family-friendly comic. Because again, we kind of knew that Sipka was a little wholesome, but I didn't know like how serious a matter that was for him. And again, he's using that for some uncreative comedians could be a major handicap, that you want to be family friendly, but again, you don't know quite how to market that unless you're in a sitcom or something. However, Sipka, he's playing that, he's using that as his driving force of like, I'm a family friendly comic, but you know what? I'm going to use the family element of family friendly. I'm going to use it to my advantage. And my God, he does it. He's like using your own demographic to bolster yourself into the stratosphere of funny, and he's doing it, man.
Yeah, and keep in mind, even though it's definitely family friendly, like there is some material that I would consider edgy. There's some, especially there's one joke in particular, Dragon, that we'll get into when we talk about Sipka as a performer, because it talks about, it basically relates to the whole family, but I just want to highlight it because it's just like, I don't know, I think it's the darkest he goes, but we'll get into that momentarily.
Yeah, and he's he's doing some basically in terms of again kind of breaking down the comedy of the thing overall a little bit, I guess. He's like I'm pretty much.
Joshua Thomas was in the audience for this, right?
That's the thing, but I've been driving myself crazy, and this is the thing I wanted to verify, but unfortunately I couldn't because I can hear. I'm convinced I can hear Joshua Thomas.
I know what you're talking about, Dragon.
You can hear him laughing in the back, right?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Like, I'm pretty sure at the beginning he's the one who says, D'Angelo. I'm pretty sure that's him. But regardless, here's the thing that drove me crazy because you can hear him, but then there's this guy, and the only one of the major nitpicks I have, like nitpicking that it doesn't matter at all, but it's just like in looking for something. It's like, why can't we see? We cut the audience out completely. We just focus on the fan, which is great. But I just wish there was like one shot so I could like quickly peek through and see, okay, where's Joshua Thomas? Like, is Poncio?
Right, yeah,
just for laughs, is Poncio there for an extra cameo? Is he? I can't. Nothing. He's just because there's this guy in a black T-shirt behind the family, and I kept freeze framing like, is that Joshua Thomas? Is it him? Is it him? And I'm like, no, it's not. For a moment, I thought it was him. Maybe Joshua Thomas had like a tattoo on his arm that I never noticed, but no, it's just I can't. I really don't think it's him. But at the point you can hear him though, Joshua Thomas is there. I heard that he had a cameo, which is why I was looking for like a maniac, but. Anyway,
I think the cameo must be a crowd reaction.
It's got to be. At the very least, that's got to be because they probably cut him. I wonder if they cut him. I wonder if Sipka cut him out of spike as like a practical joke. I'm sure Joshua does going to be looking for himself when he's listening to this, and I'm going to make sure we cut off all the heads in the back of the audience. It makes you wonder. All right, so yeah, let's talk about Sipka. Sipka overall. So with this Tiki, let's talk about before we get into it any further, real quick, we brought up Joshua Thomas, so we don't let Joshua Thomas overshadow this thing completely. Let's plug some stuff here. What do you say?
Yeah, that's right, folks. So Dragon, it's getting really close. Like Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World, episode 6. It's on the horizon, my friend. It is on the horizon.
So, folks, there are videos of them shooting it right now. It's being made right now, folks.
Why don't you elaborate on that, Dragon? You're more in the know about it than I am.
Folks, no joke. In the last 2 days, they've been filming, presumably in the YouTube location that we saw in the Heightened episode. Presumably, in that same space, they are currently shooting Harley Quinn and the Joker episode 6, and of course, there was a kind of a tease of the script a while back, a major kind of awesome tease of the script a while back. Folks, again, episode 6 is so close you can taste it, man. It tastes like strawberries, and it's delicious.
Strawberries. I like that strawberries is your go-to Dragon.
But yes, man, it tastes. It tastes like I'm going to give you a Valentine's Day equivalent because February. Again, we're kind of hyping up some stuff for February here, okay? Folks, I've been seeing they did this really cool limited edition thing. Right now, the Starburst, it's all strawberry, man. They have a bag of all strawberry Starburst, and they're also having all the fave reds, like all the red ones, are all the good ones in Starburst.
Well, yeah, Dragon, they've had fave reds for quite a while. That's not.
No, I know this. I'm saying unrelated. There's like a limited edition thing they're doing where it's all pink strawberry, and also they're doing like the heart-shaped boxes of chocolates, but instead it's a heart-shaped box of Starburst, but it's all the red kind.
Oh man! Oh dear!
So what I'm saying, guys, is that imagine that proverbially one of those two. Take your pick: heart-shaped box. You want to go for the literal, or just kind of like the strawberry, just sensation of it all with just quality, just like it's there, man. If you want nothing but the best, and that's what I'm saying with the limited edition. That's why I'm focusing so much on the strawberry and the limited edition of all folks, because it's like literally nothing but the best, and that's what Just Giggle is. It's the strawberry starburst equivalent of comedy as well as production quality.
Oh man,
it is.
That's such a good analogy.
But it is. I know it sounds crazy,
I've
but
heard anyone
it's
use Starberry Strawburst Dragon, but I'm impressed.
Strawberry Starburst, yes, that's what it is, folks. It's nothing but the best. It's like you don't have to seek it, like you don't have to watch Saturday Night Live and say, you know what, this is funny, but I wish we could just cut through all the stuff. Like, I don't want to watch the musical act. Like, imagine if you just had the sheer comedy. You go to Just Giggle. You want something beyond that. You want something even more than that. You go to Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the Real World, which of course is the most faithful rendition of the Joker you're going to find recently. Gotham's knocking out of the ballpark, but that's all proto Joker. This Joaquin Phoenix Joker we're getting, still proto Joker. You want full-fledged Joker? That's an amalgam of all the greatest Jokers you could ever imagine from the decades and decades the Joker's been around. In the couple decades Harley Quinn's been around. Look no further. Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the Real World. You want episode 6 because you've binge-watched multiple times episodes 1 through 5? Keep doing that because you get number 5 up to 1 million, and we get episode 6. Because folks, there's going to reach a point. Because I know you're right there. It's like it's so tantalizingly strawberry there. It's like you can taste it. It's like, oh my god, it's so it's there. And the sequences that have been teased, they're being filmed, they're being realized. It's like, what if James Cameron worked in fast forward after all these years instead of waiting 20 years? He's doing it tomorrow. That's what's happening soon. It's going to be in the can. It's going to be in the can, filmed, ready to go, ready to watch. But you know the one thing that might potentially stand in the way of that? Episode 5 isn't to 1 million views. So, folks, again, it's so close. One, you want to refresh yourself before you watch episode 6. So watch episode 5. While you're watching episode 5, don't just watch it again. You can do that, and it'd be helpful. Just make sure you watch it to the end. Don't just hit the refresh button, because believe me, we've tried. Didn't work. Folks, what you want to do is you want to share it. You want to share the wealth of faithfulness and comedy. If you're a Batman fan, if you know a Batman fan, if you know someone who's just heard, if someone who's raised the question, who's this Batman guy? Send them it. If you know someone who likes Harley Quinn, send it to them. Make it like folks, just do something good today. Share Harley Quinn the Joker episode 5. So if someone will get hooked, they'll watch the other 5. They'll watch the other 4 episodes that lead up to 5. They'll watch 5 again, and then they'll realize basically they'll hear this advertisement for the umpteenth time, and they'll say, you know what? I'm going to watch episode 5. I'm going to send it to some more people because we're going to get episode 6, and after episode 6, we're going to get 7 and more. And believe me, folks, we've been teased a little bit of 7. 7's going to be amazing. So the point is, folks, is a long, very long-winded way of saying, watch episode 5, get the views up to 1 million, so we can see this very amazing. Folks, I can promise you, episode 6 is going to be everything you want it to be, and more. But the only way you're going to see that is if you watch episode 5 and share it and tell your friends. That's pretty much it.
All right.
Okay.
Dragon, good.
So, all right. So all that said, so again, like overall with Sipka. So Sipka is the performer in the special, and of course Sipka in terms of framing the comedy. Let's you start us off.
Yeah, well, first off, I really like his timing and his sense of movement, because as he's talking about these individual family members, he sort of morphs into them in a way. You know what I mean? He kind of like really kind of takes on their physical characteristics.
He does, and basically this is an excellent showcase. And again, this is why I bring up the Jeff Dunham comparison, because again, it's like a comedian who's like on his. I'm not saying that Sipka's necessarily desperate in this example. What I am saying is that Sipka, he knows this is like for all the money. Like this is like you really have to showcase what makes you special as a comedian, and also showcases you as an actor as well. So he's kind of capturing kind of two birds of one stone there, where he's showing the things that we've seen Sipka do in his appearances on Just Giggle It already, where he's an impressionist. Again, the whole Joshua Thomas Grand Slam, as well as him doing the animal sounds, him doing the sound effects comedy, him doing really some good physical comedy. But again, just a lot of a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the just kind of dialing into kind of an impression that basically impressions / broad characters. That's what I'm looking for, like broad characterizations, which he's done. Like remember, like he did like the Lord Fauntleroy kid in Halloween, in Healthy Halloween. That's the kind of Sipka I'm talking about here, where he's going big and unafraid. Like he's kind of making the jump without being tethered down for yet another Batman reference. That's what Sipka's doing with his comedy. He's not afraid to fall. And that's the way you do comedy. So again, Sipka's playing to everything that's kind of been working for him over the years, and he's making sure he gets that in while it's being taped, and of course, like selling himself on as the family friendly comic.
Yeah. Dragon, there's one joke in particular I want to highlight that I think kind of has to do with all the family members in a way, and it is the darkest joke in the special, I think. Do you want to talk about the dog?
I was gonna save the dog when we get to the brother, but I was gonna. If you want, I mean, well, yeah, let's talk. Let's talk about that one now because we have the other really funny one for later. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the dark joke with the dog.
There's another one with his brother and a pet that gets dark. So
true. All right. Well, okay. So you tell him. You tell him.
Okay. So basically, I mean, I'm not going to tell it as good as Sipka is, obviously, but they had this beloved family dog, Dragon. What his name was?
Fergus.
Fergus, right? Fergus.
Ferg for short. Ferg in the familial sense, sure. Like good old Ferg. Love you, Ferg, that sort of thing. And also, Sipka's a big dog lover, as you probably gathered from this story, which makes it even funnier and more dark.
And so, long story short, folks, one day, old Ferg passes away, quietly in its sleep. And the father just kind of, slowly puts his hand over the dog's eyes and closes its eyes, and that's it. That's it for old Ferg. And the family wants to bury it in the backyard. Only one problem. What's that problem, Dragon?
Well, I believe they're in Michigan, and it's winter in Michigan, and it gets really cold in Michigan. And not only that, folks, not many people may know this, but ordinarily, you don't see a lot of funerals in the winter unless it's like a really special circumstance. And a big reason for that is because the ground gets hard, and you can't you have a shovel, you can't really plow the shovel into the dirt and really kind of dig the full hole without going through extraneous effort. Really, just again, this be like resealing the hole. It's a whole process. The point is, you can't dig a hole in the winter for a funeral to bury something, which means you have to wait for the ground to warm, for the ground to thaw before you do that. Which means, what, Tiki?
Which means that, good old Papa Sipka, his way of preserving the dog is to just grab a big old trash bag, Dragon, just a big old black trash bag. And in goes Fergus.
For at least 3 months until the ground thaws.
Oh God, Dragon. Oh.
And the Sipka tells wonderfully here, and again, this corrects me. Basically, the Sipka lays out those two dog stories. I love how close they are. Basically, gets all the dog stuff under one banner. The perfect transition again. But the dog stuff is probably the funniest. The thing that had me laughing so much. I was laughing so much at the first one. We'll get to a little bit later. But this bit is just like, oh my God, it's so morbid yet so hysterical. Where Sipka, he was the one who had to take out the trash. Of course, every time he goes to
take out the trash.
Every time he goes to take out the trash, it's just there's old Ferg like we're sitting right next to the trash receptacle. And he just looks at it like,
And that's what I'm talking about with like the physical comedy and the faces and everything. He really does a good job with that kind of stuff.
So that brings me to a big point with kind of like what kind of comedian you are. Because I mean, I don't know, it's just because I've been watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel recently. It kind of goes into this sort of stuff. I don't know, but yeah, it's been making me think. And I got to tell you, when I rewatch, it's like, yeah, it's kind of right. You do have to kind of decide what kind of comedian. Basically, there's this been Mrs. Maisel where Alex Borstein's asking the Rachel Brosnahan character, like basically asking all the questions, like all the boxes you need to check to learn what kind of performer you are, and that's kind of what I'm going through here. Where, what kind of comedian are you? Do you have jokes? Do you have gags, or do you tell stories? And Sipka, he has an anecdotal framework, which is like kind of a storytelling framework. Which, of course, those the way he moves his body and the way he kind of makes those facial expressions and does those impressions. Like you can't just tell a D'Onofrio joke without doing like D'Onofrio from Men in Black. You can't.
Oh God,
sugar, more sugar. You need that. I just love their different forms of D'Onofrio impression. Like Poncio doing kind of a Wilson Fisk D'Onofrio. And we have Sipka, of course, doing the Men in Black, the new Edgar Bug D'Onofrio. Anyway, but yeah, so he's using mainly an anecdotal framework, which of course plays into the whole family kind of roasting dynamic. So, what I want to highlight with all of this, Tiki, which is kind of again, one, having your family on stage and interacting with them while you're roasting them, because again, usually roasters are on stage, but you're not supposed to interact with them. At least you rarely do interact with them. And it's just, I want to highlight how rare that is, Tiki. One, to have an anecdotal framework and interact with the people you're having the anecdotes about. And having them center stage and having them kind of be kind of your fail safe to cut to in case something's not going well. And again, not only that, Tiki, but have a narrative. Because think about where he goes primarily on the basis of the way we're going to kind of break this down somewhat is he's going from his youth with the brothers to eventually kind of the wisdom that comes with age and looking at his parents. And of course, it goes full circle with, it kind of has a full circle arc with the mother, who's kind of has a piece in each of the bits. Who of course is kind of the big ender with the big heartfeltness of the whole shebang. Ends with Mama Sipka.
Yeah. I mean, I really do like the framework of it all, and the family really does. Like you said, Dragon, at the very least, it leads to really good editing. And there's never a dull moment because, either Sipka's up there doing a really good delivery, or it's to one of the family members, and in some cases, like especially with Tim Sitka, the father, he just adds so much to it. You know what I mean? It's like Tim Sitka is like the ultimate dad.
True.
But of course, we'll get to that when we break him down. But
you gotta relate most to Tim Sitka. That's the thing. Like as like my father, it kind of reminds you a little bit of my dad. That's kind of the thing. It's like the love, the lovable, goofy father. It's kind of what he is. Kind of touched me on some level. Like, oh yeah, I recognize that. That's
yeah.
All right. Okay, so I guess beyond that, I mean, unless you have anything else to add, just kind of Sipka overall, I think we kind of.
Yeah, let's get into the brothers, starting with Phil.
So, he doesn't go necessarily he doesn't basically dedicate every segment to a brother. That's kind of how we're generally breaking it down. So we're going to start with Phil, the eldest.
Yeah, I honestly, Dragon, we get the least with Phil, but I think Phil might have some of my favorite on-stage chemistry with Mark outside of the father. That leads to my favorite moment, which is the list of things Phil Sitka will never say.
Yes, which again feels like a Letterman gag, like Letterman having the cards of like the 12 things that that happened this week, the 12 things that will never happen this week. One of those things, like Letterman having list comedy, so it kind of feels like Sipka doing his own, again, to use what I'm saying, like he's kind of using some time-tested comedy things, but he's making it personal and kind of spinning it in a way we don't really see that often directly with the family unit. With his brother here, so continue.
So let's see. So the 9 things, it's like I don't want to go over each one of them. There's stuff about like I do not know the answer, and washing his hands, and stuff like that.
Basically, there's a lot of Oscar.
Go ahead.
Basically, there's a lot of Oscar Madison comedy. Basically, the idea is like Phil's kind of like the slob character. Out of the Felix and the Oscar dynamic, Phil's definitely the sloppy one. He's got really kind of poor health habits. He's just basically we have this hilarious line I believe you have here about the immunity, right?
Yeah, I don't have it word for word, but
Oh no, I mean like the game. If you want to tell him, by all means, just the whole.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Basically, it's like this. I'm building. Phil's calling out to him, "I'm building immunity," and of course, Sipka having the perfect retort, saying, "Yeah, I've been licking doorknobs since he was 4, building up a lot of immunity." Oh God.
Um, but I love how that list thing pays off because we get to number one and Mark Sipka, is really insistent that his brother read it, Dragon, and I love this payoff. And what is number one? What is the number one thing you will never hear Phil Sipka say?
Mark, I respect your choice to become an actor.
And Dragon, my favorite part about that bit is that Phil Sipka, as soon as Mark gives him the notes to read, and as soon as he sees what he's gonna say, he just cracks up because he knows how true it is.
And I love Steve. I love how Steve off to the side is like, "Say, well, if he reads it, then it means he would have said it." It says, "I know, but I have to hear this one." That's oh,
And Sipka just takes it as like, yeah, I'm just gonna take that out there for everyone. Let that just be a positive vibe that everyone can take in. That I needed that. Thank you, Phil.
You know what? I'm sorry, I kind of forgot this. I want to kind of close out because again, we want to show we're completely unbiased here because we are highlighting a lot of great stuff. But one thing, uh, I want to get your thoughts on this, Tiki. I felt the opening joke was a little weak that Sipka opened with. I loved every other thing he did in this thing, but his opening joke worried me.
You mean the phone gag?
No, sorry, not like not the preamble. Like it's like I've seen Patton Oswalt also like Sarah. They'd always do like an opening gag bit like that. But I mean like when he's on stage, like the Holocaust Museum gag.
Oh, I like the Holocaust Museum.
No, here's the thing. It's not that it's offensive. I'm not saying that.
Holocaust Museum and step on it.
That's the thing. Here's my worry. Okay, so we're watching the thing, and of course, you have the you have like he's just talking to the family. Basically, that was okay, and then it was kind of bridging into the Holocaust thing. I was starting to fear where, again, not that it was offensive in any way, because it was a perfectly fine, tame joke, and that's not the problem. The problem was that to me felt like the only joke where it felt like a guy who's like I don't think he was starting with the strongest material there. Just everything else, I feel like he has to ease into it, but unfortunately, I feel like he opened a little weak on that, where it's not really that funny when you think about it. It's like, and step, he has to explain the and step on it. It's like, oh man, he's kind of floundering at the start there. I don't know.
I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was good. It made me laugh. So what are you going to say? Humor subjective, I guess.
That's fair. I mean, that's I was worried.
Yes, Greg, and I'm just I just think it's genuinely a really well done special.
I mean, no, it is. It is. I'm just saying, like again, like I think right after that, he was basically had the ball and then he ran with it to the end zone for the whole thing. That's what I really think he was doing. But it was like that first, like he's holding the ball, but he's kind of it's like he's kind of fumbling in his hands a little bit, but he's still holding on. All right. Okay. So yes, let's talk Steve and Elise.
Steve and Elise. Okay, do you want to get to Elise first and then kind of build to Steve because there's not much with Elise?
Well, I mean, Elise kind of pays off the Steve stuff. Well, yeah, you're right. Let's preface a little bit of Elise there. So Elise, essentially, we have Steve, who's the middle brother. Steve's the middle brother, and and the idea is like Steve was kind of in a dark period in college where he was just kind of like the ambitious guy with not a lot of smarts.
Like basically, as Sipka puts it, like as soon as he hit high school, he punched out a time card on life, and he was just like, meh, I don't care.
And Elise basically dug him out of that and kind of made him a productive member of society. And he's eating organic fruits now. He's
My brother made me a smoothie with pumpkin seeds in it.
Exactly. So I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Taking this is the narrative I love in all these. Again, while there's a lot of comedy, again, it's a roast. It's kind of it's kind of a more PC kind of roast where he's saying he's got to point out some horrible stuff, but again, it's like out of love, and again, it's funny before it's offensive. And again, this is the kind of roast comedy I miss, Tiki. That's the thing. I love, I love the old Dean Martin roast. I can't. The new roasts are just like it's always just like, why you unnecessarily cursing out the guys on the stage now in the Comedy Central.
Right.
That's the thing. Before it was like, see, on back in the days, during the Dean Martin roast, they couldn't, they can't curse at all because again, it's like broadcast. Well, maybe not live, but again, they can't bleep anything out back then. So again, they have to keep it clean and pre-written. And it's the old variety show format used to work really well sometimes. And anyway, so yeah, I mean that's kind of thing. It kind of forces you to be a little bit more, a little bit more clever, a little bit more. Basically, not every guy's trying to be the next George Carlin in a way. It's kind of that's kind of what Sipka's doing here, and I applaud that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so but yeah, so what I'm saying is like while we have the comedy here, we have there's a heart and there's kind of a through line that again builds to the ultimate thing we get to where Elise is kind of we show that his brother had problems, but Elise made him a better person. So again, there's a sweetness to it all there where again he got married, he became a better person. That's a really nice story to tell through a really funny way of telling it.
And then I also like some of the bits with Steve. Like I guess let's talk through Steve and then build to Elise.
Okay, well, the big thing with Steve is the pet terror stuff. God, he's just like a pet terrorist.
Yeah, but really quickly, we also have the bit in his apartment where he's constantly finding roaches in his food, like the melted cockroach in his coffee.
God, and of course, like the mouse in his pants. Yeah. So again, I don't know what it is in the just Steve and Phil. I know they're both like two little Oscar Madisons. That's kind of vibe you
get. Oh, I also like basically when Sipka points out, like, I'm doing this voice for you guys, and you know what you guys are? You're two douche surfer bro sidekicks.
Yep. All right, let's see. So, so we have. I'm sorry. The thing that kills me with Steve are these pet jokes. These pet jokes. Just, I seriously, I was rewatching it yesterday, and I was laughing as hard as I laugh at Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Tiki, no joke. For some reason, because it's just that funny when he talks about what happened with Fergus. So Steve used to walk Fergus. He was going to be elected to walk Fergus, and Fergus, while Fergus is going, they're taking the dog out to go to the bathroom and all that stuff, and essentially they basically Sipka paints again. This is like you're doing a writer's comedian, you can paint the story so perfectly in the mind's eye. Which again, tell me you have this, right? Like Sipka just painted the story perfectly, right?
Yeah. Essentially, it's just like the dog is.
Steve's just like running just carefreely like ahead of the dog as the dog's trying to do his business, like half on the ground, half just being dragged along. And here's the thing.
But I love how the father, like, this kind of like builds to the stuff with the father. The father is just like, hey, you gotta see this, Mark.
No, he just has basically. What's so funny about Tim Sipka? Tim Sipka to me, half the time he kind of feels like John from Garfield to me. It's kind of what it feels like half the time, where it's just like this has like I'm almost imagining like a comic strip kind of framing where it's like you have this thing happening off screen where like the dog's being like just dragged like as Steve Sipka is just walking down all carefree like dun 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 dun, he's like almost going for like a jog or something as the dog just being. And Tim Sipka just like turns to Mark and he says, maybe you should walk Fergus from now on. Like that's kind of like that John Arbuckle sort of like kind of happy-go-lucky. Oh, it's delivering the punchline. He knows exactly when to deliver the punchline in the strip sort of comedy with Tim Sipka. That's kind of what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the thing that kills me is when Sipka brings it all when he says one time. Steve walked in looking for Fergus, and Fergus ran into Fergus hid behind the door, and he looked up at it's Sipka and his parents, and basically looked at like, you're not gonna let him do it, are you? Just give him that look. Oh God, it's just it's priceless. It is. I mean, some folks sometimes never underestimate stupid pet tricks. Sometimes it's less. Anytime you personify a dog, it works. I don't know why. It's like it's a law of God, man. It's like it's from the big stone tablet of comedy. Sometimes it just works because it works, and it does.
Mm-hmm. All right. I also want to highlight the fish story, Dragon.
Beta fish, bro.
Oh my goodness. And that's where we get the surfer bro voice.
And then, of course, if you want a crossover, yeah, we almost got you, bro.
We almost got you, bro.
Oh boy, oh God. Okay, James McAvoy for the Mark Sipka biopic. Let's do it.
Oh God. I could picture James McAvoy as Mark Sipka. I could see that.
You know, we do it like Runs in the Family, like the unsuccessful Christmas Story, but set in the summertime sequel. We do it like that. That's how we see the family. That's how we get the family having some comedy.
Oh God.
Okay, anyway, so tell them about the beta fish, bro.
Okay, beta fish, bro. So Mark Sipka, occasionally his family would clean out the fish tank and get new fish. And Sipka, he saved up all his allowance money and all his money doing the paper route, Dragon, and he was so excited, and he got all these colorful fish, and it was beautiful. It was like a great little fish community, Dragon, and Sipka was so proud. And then in walks Steve, and Steve's like, you know what you need? You need one of those beta fishes, bro. One of those red beta fishes. And then Sipka is just like, beta fish, you do realize that beta fishes kill other fish, right? And then Dragon, what cracks me up is just like the confidence that that Mark Sipka gives Steve in the moment where it's just like, no. Basically, it'll be fine, bro. It'll be fine. We need to get the beta fish. Basically, just like this stupid reassurance of like, no, you really don't know what you're talking about, do you?
It's like imagine if Chuck McGill had a fish, had like an aquarium of fish, and then basically Chuck's version, what Chuck thinks of Jimmy McGill personified as Steve Sipka here, walks in. It's just like, you gotta get a beta fish, Chuck. You gotta get a beta fish, man.
Oh,
you gotta put in the water. It's basically just like wrecking the utopia of the fish community that he's set up. Like if Chuck McGill had like kind of an ant farm equivalent of a fish tank. Like look at them all just kind of about their business, all peaceful. Like it's like an Amish community of fish. They're just like going about their business, waving hi to each other, and just going about their day unaware they're in like a little glass tank. And of course, like beta fish, bro, you got to go next level with it. Come on. Come on, Mark, roll around in the dirt with me. Go with the beta fish, man. And of course, this goes horribly wrong again, folks. If you ever had any concerns, or just if you ever in doubt about getting fish of differing sizes, just look at the obvious: big fish, little fish, big fish, little fish. Not gonna end well.
I'm gonna regale you with a story. All right, this is a horrifying story, and it's one of the darkest parts of my childhood, and it made me. This story reminded me of it.
Oh God!
So my sister and I, we once won a goldfish at a carnival, right?
Yeah.
And we were pumped, man. For some reason, it just stoked us out. We got like a nice big bowl for it, and like a castle and everything. And one day, it didn't last too long because it was just kind of like a little feeder fish, so it only lasted a few days. And when it died, Dragon, I remember being genuinely upset. And so my sister, her idea and my idea was, you know what? If we had that much fun with one fish, think how much fun we could have with a bunch of fish.
Oh God!
So long story short, Dragon, we get a whole bunch of feeder fish, like at least 20 of them.
Oh God!
Put them in a bowl together.
Oh no!
And the next day, all floating.
Oh God! It's like a fish holocaust. Oh my God!
Essentially, yes. It was. So I think ours is even worse than the Sipka story because, like, at least with Sipka there was like a a fish doing it, but Dragon, there was one lone fish who was swimming amongst all the dead fish.
Basically, the Oscar Schindler of fish.
Pretty much. So yeah, so just that story was definitely a story that I could personally relate to. I was like, yep, I've been there. I've been in that exact same position, staring down a whole tank full of dead fish because of a dumb decision that was made.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, the beta fish goes to town and basically it is murdered. Sipka's prized fish, but again, the kind of the punchline to the story is the beta fish living in Steve's room. Of course, let's remember Steve and Phil, not exactly the kind of they're not winning a health. They're not winning a health inspection anytime soon. And well, back then, I mean, now I'm sure they're clean cut. Back then, different story.
I mean, now at least Steve is probably in the clear. I don't know about Phil.
No one knows about Phil Dickey. So Steve, basically the fish had expired on the ground, implying that the fish had jumped out of the water to kill itself and be with Steve.
God! Oh my God!
Essentially, oh God, it's funny. All right. Okay.
Anything else with Steve, or should we get to really quick with Elise? Elise. All right. So first of all, what I really like about her, just as a presence, is that she totally does seem like the supportive sister-in-law. It's like Sipka is kind of like this geeky theater kid who grew up in a house full of like broy surfer guys.
Tied him up in with stuff that holds Christmas trees, like bungee cord, and put peanut butter on his face for the dog. That's kind of house he grew up in.
And Elise is just like the supportive voice in the room, where it's like, I could picture her like genuinely saying to Mark, "I respect your choice to be an actor, Mark," and just meaning it full-heartedly.
I had to tell you, my favorite thing with Elise doesn't even have Elise in the scene, but it's Sipka at the very start of it when he's on the phone saying, "Oh wait, so Steve's not." Like Steve's basically holding things up. It's like, forget Steve. I mean, Elise, I like Elise a lot more. Elise is more family to me than Steve is. Pretty much saying, God, it's I don't know, it's really funny. Just like it was, I don't know, it gave me such a great impression of Elise right off the bat that, oh man, this lady must be so pleasant.
Dragon, dare I say, oh God, I don't even want to say it, Dragon.
I know what you're gonna say.
Farmiga-esque?
Well, I wasn't going to go that far. No, I was thinking nice girl. I was thinking...
Oh, yeah. She definitely is a nice girl, for sure, without a doubt.
Look, I can't go blindly into a Farmiga comparison, man. We don't have evidence. We barely know anything about her.
I hear you.
I mean, she seems really nice. At the very least, I'll go as far as Emma Dakota. I'll say she's a nice girl. Anyway.
For all the Bates Motel fans in the room.
Yeah!
Right.
Anyway. All right. So unless we have anything else on Elise, let's get to...
yeah. Hold on. The one other thing about Elise is I really like the cheers they come up with. You want to set that up, or should I?
No, you do it. You do it.
Okay, so basically, Elise is, it's kind of like a classic, like, Elise is the cheerleader who marries the linebacker or whatever Steve was on the football team. The cheerleader marries the football player. And, Dragon, I'm having the mascot for the football team was a literal cannon. And they went as far as to put, I'm sorry, was it a cannon or a tank?
Tank. Well, there's the tank in front of the school, so I don't know if it was necessarily the mascot, but it was in front of the school.
Okay, I think it's a tank. So it's like they went as far as to put a tank in front of the school, and so Sipka and the family would just make fun of her, like what kind of cheers would they do? And it's like, one of them is just like, like load me up and fire me away, and then basically the cheerleaders would just like throw one of them into the crowd, like bazooka style. I don't know, just really funny stuff.
Right.
All right.
Okay, so let's talk about Tim Sipka.
I think this man steals the show.
Yeah, he's a scene stealer. He's like a thing. If mom's the heart, dad's the funny. Oh my God, Papa Sipka here. Tim Sipka he's a master. He really is. He's a math teacher with a mustache. Need I say more? Math teacher with a mustache,
I
folks.
love the history behind that mustache dragon. It's a mustache with prestige, baby.
Not only prestige with flies in it.
Oh God.
Again, I just like I again paint such a lovely picture. Just because the fact that we keep cutting back to him again, I'm imagining how that fly would have been in that man's mustache, just as he tells us when we cut back from just the family on the couch. Again, the perfect device of having the family on the couch for point of comparison, folks. Just it works wonders. Again, I don't want to undersell that because again, you never see that.
Uh-huh.
It's always like, so you have roast, you cut the roasters sometimes, but it's always like everyone's so constrained to the roast. Like they can literally interact with the main talent. They're not just like having to wait their turn, It's wonderful. Anyway, so, but yes, Tim Sipka there with a fly in his mustache. And basically, the guy's the epitome of dad humor. Essentially, that's the best way of summing up Tim Sipka, the epitome of dad humor. And there's like a litany of
his checkered shirts.
Yeah, and of course, like almost like a cartoon character, like in the same outfit in the closet, like every outfit's the same one. And
Mother just like, I don't know how many more varieties of checkered shirts I can buy him. I just don't.
I gotta be honest, the thing that made me love Tim Sipka from the start was the mailman gag. It's like from the start,
Yes,
told me
yes, for sure.
The mailman gag told me everything I need to know about this man without even telling me any joke. It's like, again, it's Tim
just
Sipka.
Like a totally unintentional, like in the moment type thing. Like he wasn't even really trying to be funny.
And it's perfect because again, it's not even a joke. Because Sipka barely finishes. I mean, they don't really finishes the joke, but again, the point is like you'll notice it's like a non-starter joke, and that's the thing. Sipka had a place he was going with it, but then the father improvised something that made it so much funnier. He kind of nixed the rest of the joke. It's brilliant,
right.
Where he says he's bringing up the mailman. My father calls Steve the mailman's child, the mailman's son. And of course, as he's explaining that, we have the father interject with. He looks like he explains it. He looks like our mailman Gary Johnson, and of course, and just laughing at that. Of course, he then interrupts as he's continuing to go through the joke. Should I not have said Gary Johnson? And he's like, I don't know if he's going to be happy. Do you really think he's going to watch it? I don't know. It's a dad thing, Tiki. Where fathers, they feel very invested over the mail. I don't know if it's just me, but it's like a thing where like I'm not saying like I imagine my father knows the mailman's name. That's one thing. Knowing the mailman's name is one thing. Like again, unless like there's like a Cliff Clavin at a bar or something. Rarely do you know a mailman's name. Rarely. But it's like a thing where you interact with the mailman. Of course, year round. You kind of you tip the mailman. You do something nice for the holidays. It's pretty much the most interaction you have with the mailman. But again, there's like a day. There's sometimes if you're like one of those rise and shine early kind of morning guys with the mailman, it's like, oh hello, you greet the mailman. That's about it. And just the idea that Tim Sipka knows the mailman by name, and he's going so far
on a first name, last name basis.
And that's the thing. He knows the mailman. He's also going to lengths to protect the mailman's integrity. Should I not have said Gary Johnson without realizing? It just tells you everything you know about this. Without even realizing that it's too late. Okay, you've outed the man. It's too late. You're digging the man a hole by saying that's his real name. No one would know now. And of course, what name does he make up, Dickie? Do you remember? Glenn Reynolds. Which is a very viable name, Glenn Reynolds. So Glenn Reynolds, and of course, like, is that a real name? No, and of course, Sipka, he's loving it. So basically, on the whole, Tim Sipka, the guy has he's a swell guy with a sweet earnestness about him. He's basically George McFly, but intentional. It's kind of the overall vibe.
Oh God, okay. The moment that I swear to God, my dad did this, Dragon. I swear to Christ. It was either my dad or my grandpa. I actually want to say it was my grandpa. Hell, it might have been my grandpa doing it to my mom, actually, if I remember correctly.
Oh, if you're going to tell me it's right.
One of my grandpas died when I was 7, when I was like 10, so I don't remember much about him, but I swear to God it was him. And basically the whole gist of it is like after church, and on shopping trips and stuff, like, you know, Tim Sipka would just get in the car with his kids as the mother was behind, you know, struggling with the groceries and everything, and or like a dish from the potluck or something like that.
Like potato salad or something on the way to church. So basically, you know, like in like the icy roads and everything, just getting ready.
And Tim Sipka would just be like, he just turned around with like a devilish grin on his face and just be like, "Hey kids, you want to make mom walk?"
Make mom walk. Make mom walk.
I swear to God, I experienced this, man. I got like a deja vu from this
Okay,
show.
I had something that wasn't this, but it was similar to this. Like my grandfather, what he would do, we'd always joke about. My grandmother takes forever to get to the car, and he would always joke about, "Let's just leave her." You know, just sometimes. Here's the thing: he wouldn't do like a whole make her walk thing, but sometimes he'd lock especially when he would lock the doors for a time, messing with her, and then he would, sometimes he would like start to pull away, but you know, not really pull away. But that's he wouldn't go as far.
Right. That's exactly the type of thing that Tim Sipka is pulling. Is like, you know, there's nothing malicious about it. Like, if anything, it's just to kind of give the kids a good laugh.
That's the thing. It's almost like a home improvement.
Oh God, and the messages, Dragon, the messages.
Okay, well, before we put a pin in the message. Let's talk about the funniest part.
Okay.
This is the thing that killed me about the make mom walk bit. Okay, Okay, so one, the physical comedy of how he mimics.
This might be the best physical comedy.
It is. It is the best physical comedy in the whole thing, and of course, one of the best voices that Sipka does. Again, hence the whole Hour of Darkness podcast. And again, not only is it funny, it is thematically built into kind of the big point of it all. His impression of his mother, which of course is kind of his lady voice that he does on Just Giggle It. We now know the origin. It's him doing the voice of his mother, with like "it's okay." Basically, you know, it was young Sipka on his mother's side, his mother's vehement defender. Like not a mama's boy per se, but kind of like mama's pride and joy kind of sort of thing. You know, like she's proud of her boy. One of those things where we have young Sipka says, "Don't make mom walk. Don't make mom walk." And of course we have this like, here's the thing, it's hilarious, but it's also, it kills me. It's like a diabetes of sweetness moment. We're like, oh my God, it's the sweetest thing I've ever heard, where this mother is walking, and probably it's like icy roads or something. They walk into the car as the car's like pulling away from her, and with this potato salad, like trying to balance, saying, "It's okay, Mark, it's okay." He's, oh my God, I was dying laughing, but at the same time I was like, oh my God, that's almost brings a tear to your eye how sweet that is. Like she's she's comforting the upset son who's in her corner. Man, that's beautiful. And of course, then the thing that brings it all home is Sipka just kind of critiquing his father. Now, you're such a nice man. Why would you make that poor woman? She's washing her underwear and cooking our meals, and you make her walk. Don't make her walk. What are you wrong? Why would you do? I just love these berating him. It's like berating somebody in the nicest way for a malicious act. It's perfect.
Uh-huh.
All right. So anyway, so answering machines. Basically, we have the kind of jovial prankster side of Tim
Dragon.
Sipka.
My grandpa used to do this.
Really?
Okay, my mom was an Avon salesman, right?
Ah.
And so my grandpa used to leave us messages as various like angry Avon customers unsatisfied with their products. I kid you not, Dragon. I kid you not. So that's the thing. It's like this special is like so relatable to me. It's like, I don't know, you know, it's not intentional or anything, but it's just like, I think the jokes are just kind of like it's universal type shit. You know what I mean? It's like he picks out just the most obscure details that have the most kind of like universal appeal to them.
Oh yeah. It's
all right, anyways,
yeah, the answering machine pranks, just it's oh God, I just love he just has these not only dad jokes but dad pranks, and these things like the opinion trophies. The opinion trophies crack me up. The like, you know, not like the best of this or the best of that, like, you know, like the first place this, first place that. In this case, it's most triumphant soccer player, or you know, like the most interesting this. You know, it's like, oh, that's funny. But I gotta tell you, The dad humor on the whole with Tim Sipka. The specifically we have like again there's like a litany of examples that he embarrasses his father in a hilarious way. It's the string again. I love that. I love this again. Not only do we have cards, which again in comedy this is like a thing again. Tiki, this is another reason you got to watch the marvelous Mrs. Maisel because again that show being in the time period set, it's like the beginnings of comedy, the beginnings of real comedy, like the year like it's like basically I guess maybe a year to. Let's say 5 years to maybe a decade before the George Carlin era of comedy really begins. Um, you have Lenny Bruce. You have Lenny Bruce, and anyway, the point is you have the very early things of comedy where basically profanity was in its infancy in comedy. So basically, you had to be really clever, or again, if you were profane, you could genuinely be arrested for stuff like that. My point with all this said in the early things of comedy, you have like you show the cards, and like how having cards on stage is kind of a stigma among comedians, where all comedians do it, but they're not proud of having index cards. And of course, now Sipka is using index cards, and he has a clipboard with all these jokes written on. Again, I just love he's using the clipboard as a prop.
Mm-hmm.
We're just reading down like this litany of jokes that his father has said. Where it's like and hit. I loved all the jokes where he's hitting on the mother. That's the thing that cracks me up. Was it? You want to go upstairs and watch me change? Of course, the produce aisle. Let's go to the reproduce aisle. Oh god! And just you see him dying in the chair in the couch. You see him dying.
His face turns so red.
Oh god, it's and the mother's just laughing her head off too because she's heard these pickup lines and it's all and of course like if you hear screaming, these tell like young Mark if you hear screaming, don't go in. I swear to you, seriously, if you hear screaming, oh god, it's hysterical. Again, on the whole, I think what we learned from Tim Sipka, but moving on here, unless you got anything else.
Well, just really quick, the answering machine. Just the one thing I like. It's basically he's the dad is literally sitting at the office, leaving messages from pretending to be girls from either Sipka's school or church. And I like how Sipka points out, like, it wasn't just a gag. It was like the dad would have like full on narratives and dramas going on with these messages, and he just like record, like call like 2-3 times in a day.
And the fact of the matter is that he would make him play the answering machine. And here's the thing that cracks with the fact that again, with all the narratives and everything, you wouldn't be able to put two and two together. Okay, obviously this is the same person because they've both many continuous messages. It's the same. It's very obviously the same person. You think you're gonna fool somebody? Like, oh god, it's hilariously. It's funny. But yeah, oh good. So again, on the whole, I feel Tim Sipka. I think we see where Sipka gets. We see where Mark gets his wholesomeness and kind of funny without being the next George Carlin. I think we see the wholesomeness in comedy from the father because again, as Sipka had said at some point in the special, the funniest man that he knows is his father. Like his comedy idol is his father, which I thought was really sweet. And then again, he's calling it, and you see exactly where he got it from. Of course, the voice he does for his father is really good too, and on the money from what we hear in the audience. All right, so we're talking about the wholesomeness. We're talking about all the niceties here, and kind of the heart of the matter. We're kind of skirting on, and now let's get to where all the heart is, man. Where all the heart and all the real funny is too. Mama Sipka,
mother.
So, Mrs. Sipka here. Oh my goodness! Again, the whole "make mom walk" thing I already went through is just it's perfect in the origin of the lady voice.
Like you said, Dragon, the really good thing about this special is the fact that the mother is present throughout all these stories, and they really build it to her becoming the heart of the special with the end story, and that's just a really good sense of progression on the in terms of the writing and the structure of the special.
I gotta tell you, that's the thing I was most proud of Sipka for knowing exactly how to end the special. Of course, usually, a lot of times you work backwards, not only in storytelling, but also in kind of figuring out your comedy. You want to know like where to end on a high note, because sometimes you're going to hit it really high. Sometimes you'll be in a situation where you unexpectedly you make a joke that's really, really funny, and it brings the house down. Then you're going to have weak sauce to end on. Sometimes that happens even the best.
Right,
and it's a nightmare scenario where, oh my god, I peaked too early and I still have time. No. But yeah, Sipka again knew exactly where it ended. So again, it's like it's the ultimate get out of jail free card. Okay, even if I'm funny, I got something to bring. Basically, he's using the mother is kind of the redeeming roast miller. You know, at the end of every roast, everyone's like saying their stuff, and of course, at the end, they have you have the guy come up on stage and he kind of says, okay, well, he takes his respective shots, but and of course, then saying he loves the people. But importantly, even at the end of every individual person, they're going to make their jokes and then say at the end they'll buy it back by saying, oh, but seriously, he's a good guy. There, she's a great person, like one of those things. That's kind of what we have. We have a bit of like genuine heart at the end of all this here with Mama Sipka, where she's the hero of the story, and of course she's the heartfelt crescendo. And here's the thing. So here's where I'm gonna. Basically she's a church going Norma Bates mother. That's what we have here. Right? So she does a good news dance, man. Like that's Norma Bates to a T. That's the thing. Like forget that's they are. That's why I had to stop you on Elise there. Right, come on, Elise. We barely know this one. Mama Sipka though, mother Norma Bates, yes. Church going Norma Bates, yes. Like the telemarketer thing is what kills me. You want to talk about the telemarketer? Tell him about the telemarketer. Tell him.
So basically, Sipka has this theory that all the telemarketers have this, have this competition going. Like, come on, try to get under her skin. Try and get her to buy something. Come on, it's almost like a dare. And then, the phone will be ringing when the Sipkas are sitting down to pray. I presume either before or after dinner. And Mama Sipka will just answer the phone and Dragon kind of lay it out.
It's basically she's like Mark will answer the phone and he'll know what this is about. Like, oh boy, telemarketer. Let's see if she loses her. Let's see her go off on the guy. Because again, the guy she's such this sweet Norma Bates. Like again, with kind of a more religious Norma Bates here, where she's just all so happy-go-lucky. And again, we see that sweetness throughout all these stories. Him doing the mom voice, and it's so lovely and whimsical. And of course, she's all Snow White here, but secretly she's got she's got like a whole like an edge to her that comes out big time here. Where we start at the other end of it, where she's being real courteous on the phone despite being annoyed that someone's calling during dinner, because we've all been there. We all hit telemarketers who called during, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So he's answering the phone, and we hear the other end of the conversation. It's like, yes, yeah. It's like, well, we gave already. We gave at the office. Well, we did. And of course, basically, it boils down to she just gets to it's Sipka turning from the sweet Norma Bates voice here to this demonic like, we're in the middle of dinner. And here's the thing, my favorite line from all of that is, I will bake you a cake. We are praying right now. I will bake you a cake. Just, I will bake you a cake. That's the thing. This is the sweetness of all. The fact that even though she's chewing out this telemarketer, it's the fact that she will pray for him, and she genuinely, like, here's the thing. She's offering the ultimate test. This is how you know if a telemarketer is BSing you or not. If you ask them for their home phone number. If you ask them for like the number to call them back at, that's how you know if they're on the level or not. You're saying, just give me your number, give me your home phone number, I'll call you back. But she's still gonna honor the call, just don't call during dinner. That's what's so sweet about this woman, man. Let's see, she's praying for him. She's offering to make him cakes. Well, yeah, more of an extrapolation, but still. All right. So again, we have like all the laughs with Mama Sipka, and again, they can keep on pouring in. But again, we got to talk about kind of the heart of the matter at the end here. Of course, the big tragedy behind the comedy. Again, the happy, again, ends on a happy story, but still ends on a laugh. But great tragedy and great trial and tribulation. What happens?
Yeah, so basically, one day, I think it's Steve Sipka that delivers the news, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know if it was the father. I think it was probably Steve or the father.
No, it was one of the brothers.
And it was Steve, probably Steve.
Okay, so yeah, one day Steve Sipka appears, and he's looking very solemn, very sad, and he just basically just delivers the news that the mother's in the hospital, and the father, frankly, doesn't think that she's going to make it.
Yeah,
so this leads to just a whole family, praying session at the hospital, and just really kind of a time of coming together. And basically, Dragon is this heartfelt story of the mother. She's operated on middle of the night. They find out the next day that she's going to be fine, and then what's the punchline, Dragon?
One is very scary. Again, heart infection, man. That's serious business. Like your tubes coming out of her.
Right,
That's
right,
that's
yeah,
that's scary stuff. And, like scary out of the blue stuff. And of course, all this around Sipka's birthday. So again, very unfortunate circumstances. Basically, a lot of praying, a lot of gifted doctors, a lot of really, again, all like thankfully, lucky stars that she's around. Again, this is the thing that really moves me about the special is that. Again, we have all these laughs, and she's like, she's dialed into it. Again, she's very supportive, and of course, you see her just like again, just 'cause she's kind of the angel on the couch in a way. I don't mean to make that in a creepy way, but it's like, that's the thing. It's really sweet. She's just kind of like the nice lady from all these stories on the couch having a good old time. So you completely are blindsided by the fact that, oh my God, she almost died. Like really blindsided by that, and then we had basically Sipka saying like afterwards, after the happy news that she made it, she's around, she'll make full recovery, all that great stuff. They were celebrating his birthday by they went like I think they went to a football game or something. They basically watched a bunch of football games, whether live or in person, I'm not sure. Like the Detroit Lions and so on and so forth. Anyway, then they went to a rib place, and you got like a good meal, and anyway, so after all that. Sipka, he wants to basically kind of like comfort his father, put his arm around his shoulder. Good old Tim Sipka here, and he says again, meaning in the best way, but then of course not realizing how it's coming out in the formation of these words here. Today was a perfect day. This was a
perfect weekend.
Perfect weekend. Of course, implying like wouldn't change a thing, implying that, and then his father again having that macabre sense.
His father is like, honestly, I think his father is more delighted by this than any like actually comforting thing that Mark could have said to him in the moment.
I remember just real quick because this tracks with the father because we had that hilarious bit earlier on when we hear that his father, Mark was having a really heart to heart about like kind of the whole future and comedy sort of thing with his father. And basically his father was distracted by you got to look at this. I think it was like a bird out the window or something. It was either that or a commercial on TV about a bird or something. Like Mark, you got to see this bird, man.
No, it was America's Funniest Home Videos.
Right. America's Funniest. Oh man, you got to see this. You got to see this video, Mark. And again, it's like, and of course, like Tim, your son's trying to have a moment with you. I know, but Mark, listen, if you were here, you'd see this bird. Sorry, you'd see this video. Anyway, but yeah, it's the thing. So because he's taking it hilariously. And of course, the brothers put it in perspective. Like, really? Perfect weekend? Our mom almost died. What's wrong?
Dragon, I have totally been there. I've been in the moment of like wanting to say something really nice and heartfelt, and just just because of my social awkwardness, I'm just like kind of end up falling on my face from time to time. So again, it ends on a really relatable, funny note.
Yep, we all have those kind of Will Smith from Hitch moments where it's like I saw that going differently in my mind. I saw that going differently before I said it. But yeah, again, we has like the perfect kind of last. Sorry, it's kind of like the perfect kind of zinger at the very end with that, and of course, it's where the special ends. And I love the full circle quality. Where think about this, Teague, and this is brilliant. The special opens with him again during that little prelude, little pre-show with the photo of basically he's on the phone, and I guess before that he's basically explaining what the special is, and it shows a little photo of all the family, basically walks us through who each person is in the photo, so we know this in the special. Of course, it's going to go back to him like multiple times, so either way it's kind of relevant. But the point is, we see a photo with all the family members there, and of course we end on a photo of him with the family members on the couch. Currently,
yeah.
Really nice and full circle. I love that through the credits we have like actual home movie, basically home movies and pictures, like kind of photo album pictures of the Sipka family that kind of gives you an insight to like what those stories would have looked like. So all of that's really great.
All right. So final thoughts, Dragon. I think this is a really well done, really well structured comedy special that anyone could watch and anyone could enjoy, and I'm very satisfied with it. I think it's a nice breezy 50-minute watch. It's I have a feeling that it's going to be kind of on my normal rotation of just nice things to relax and watch when I need kind of like a light breather and a laugh when I'm feeling down or something like that. And that's a compliment, Dragon. That's a compliment, because it's it's truly a special that has a lot of heart to it, and it doesn't have any of the any of the cynical nature to it, and there's no politics involved or anything like that. It's just good old-fashioned family humor and, really well-timed delivery and really good stage presence and physical performance. And yeah, I highly recommend everyone check it out. I'm going to be including the link to this on Amazon Prime. It is free to watch with any Amazon Prime membership right now. And also, of course, be on the lookout for Harley Quinn and the Joker episode 5. I'll be posting a link to that as well. All right, final thoughts on your end, Dragon?
Final thoughts on my end. I thought this was kind of a funny and intimate summary of Sipka as a performer and kind of as a person too. In a good way. In some way, this has kind of the Just Giggle It stamp of comedy of where it's kind of quality and commitment, and and that the rest kind of the rest don't have in a way. Like you see a lot of comedy specials that, again, this feels a little different than that's the biggest compliment I can really distill down to, because this I've never seen a comedy special like this. I've seen a bunch of comedy specials, but none quite like this, and it just kind of it boggles my mind. Again, kind of comedy done that well, and again done that well and so different. Again, feels kind of like what we keep saying all the time on the Just Giggle Grab-Bag with all these other videos. And again, we know this isn't like a Just Giggle It sketch, but again, it's using a Just Giggle It performer. And again, I think it's a special from the heart, and unlike the rest, it's a testament to Sipka as a performer and kind of as an average Joe who's it basically is going to be the weird kind of what I would equate it to. Like Sipka, like a lot of the performers on Just Giggle, it's like an average Joe who's seen the comedy matrix, if you will, and he's seen that matrix and he's cross-stitched it into a tapestry of excellency that only a Just Giggle It alumni can do. Only those rare few. Only like Ian Sipka is like one of the comedy secret weapons of Just Giggle. We have the Holy Trinity, and then we have like kind of like the secret weapons like your Mark Sipkas and your Katie Garlands on the side out of that Holy Trinity. And again, they're they know how to do it, man. I don't know what it's something you can't equate mathematically, to quote kind of Tim Sipka. You can't find it in a math book anywhere. It's something that it's like these people know funny, and it's in their DNA, and we're seeing it come out in all sorts of ways, and this is one of those ways where it's coming out, through Sipka with this really intimate look into himself and to him as a performer. And I think that's just swell.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so folks, this was an opening act. I'll remind you, an opening act for a theme month so big. We need an opening act. So we got the best, which is Sipka, baby, Sipka. So Tiki, what is? Tell me, Tiki, what is our theme month for February? Who is it at least going to revolve around?
The theme month for February is going to be Piper Henson.
Yeah.
So yeah, all February we're going to be featuring we're going to be featuring shorts and sketches from Just Giggle It that have a major Piper Henson presence.
That's right, folks. Last time we tackled we kind of brought it back because February kind of the month of love and month of fandom, so to speak. So what we're gonna do, we're kind of broaching the second pillar of the Holy Trinity of Just Giggle, because we covered Poncio, the gift that keeps on giving with Poncio. Now we're going to get Piper Henson. Josh Thompson's always kind of there because Josh Thompson's pretty much in every video, he's directing it or on camera, off camera, so he's kind of always there. Unless we really want to uber specify at some point down the line, we want to do like an old Joshua Thomas theme month. You never know. But the point is, we're reaching the other massive column in the three letters of Just Giggle, which is Piper Henson.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be a great theme month, folks. We had some really great stuff picked out. We'll fill you in on some other time, but not right now. In the meantime, though, this is we've reached into the grab bag tonight. I think we've learned a lot. It's been again an opening act for something that's going to be really spectacular going forward. But that about does it tonight. Until the next reach into the Just Giggle It Grab-Bag.
I really respect your decision to be an actor, Mark.